Bonjour everyone and welcome back to the Waves of Your Soul. Today I'm super excited to be doing my monthly favorite for the month of March 2024. We're gonna be talking about tarot decks, oracle decks, books, and I like to do those videos every single month. I enjoy sharing with you favorites because I really enjoy watching those kind of videos from my fellow content creators. Normally I do them face fronting, however as you can see today it's hands cam. I'm so sorry about that, but I just didn't have it in me today to do a face fronting video, so I hope you'll forgive me. But considering most of this video is going to be about books and decks, I think it won't be too much of a problem. You don't need to see my face all the time, and if you don't know what I look like, then just check out all of my other monthly favorite videos. There's going to be a playlist in the description box. You'll find my face there. And if you don't want to do that, just imagine Fiona from Shrek speaking to you with a French accent and curly hair. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into my monthly faves. I have many decks to talk about because your girl has been busy and been enjoying many decks. I also have a lot of books to talk about because guess what? I'm back into reading. My reading burnout has cleared and I'm so excited to be talking about that with you guys. But first I want to mention live favorites, YouTube favorites, things like that. And the favorite thing about March, apart from the fact that it was my birthday because I'm an Aries baby, a March Aries, which I love to say so that every time someone criticizes Aries, I constantly tell them, oh, you must be talking about April Aries. March Aries were not the same. And guess what? If I was born in April, I would totally put the blame on March Aries for the bad rep that Aries get. But truly, I love Aries. I love my Aries peeps out there. So if any of you are fellow Aries babies, then happy birthday months to you, March, April, regardless. I hope you're having a good season. So apart from the fact that it was my birthday, which was fun, I got some great new decks, which actually I'm not going to talk about too much here. I'll do a whole video for that because my birthday was at the end of March, so I didn't get a chance to really work with the decks I got for my birthday, so they'll probably appear in April favorites and future haul video and stuff. My main favorite thing about March was the launch of hashtag Your Fool's Journey, which is a project I've been working on for months, since 2023. I have been dreaming about doing this series of pick a card reading, one tarot reading inspired by each major arcana, and it's been something I've been dreaming about doing for months. I've been cooking it up, I've been drawing spreads, I've been working in the background trying to think how it could work. I finally launched it in the month of March and I'm so happy. So at the time of me filming this, the full pick a card reading is out, the magician pick a card reading is out, and the high priestess is about to be out. I'm literally gonna post it like in 2 days time. If you haven't heard me talk about this Fool's Journey project, I've made a whole introduction video. I'm gonna leave it in the description box. I'm also gonna leave in the description box the playlist for all of the readings. It's already proven to be so deep, so interesting, so insightful. There's so many of you who have commented who are enjoying it already, and for that thank you so much. It means the world. There's honestly nothing that makes me happier than reading the cards for you guys. So thank you for allowing me to do that. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And again, if you're unsure about what it is or if you're curious, then everything you need to know about it is going to be in the description box. So that truly was my main exciting thing about March, because it's something I've been working on for months and it's finally launched and finally here. I need to make a little interlude for the amazing beautiful tarot cloth, Zodiac cloth from Tarot by Caro, who is one of my favorite tarot creator. I love Tarot by Caro. It was actually sent to me by the lovely, sweetest, kindest Cassandra from A Riffled in Time. I put an order from her shop for my birthday, and I'll share with you all the decks I got in a future haul because they arrived just literally around my birthday. There's a couple I'm gonna show you here, but the rest I'm still like getting to know them, so I'll share them with you in a future video. But Cassandra super kindly included this tarot class because she knew I absolutely adore Tarot by Caro, and so thank you so much if you're watching because I adore it. It's so beautiful, it's so colorful, I'm obsessed, so I just needed to give it a little shout out. And if you don't know Cassandra, lovely tarot YouTuber, tarot content creator, and she is a shop owner where she sells indie decks, so I'll leave the link to her shop down below. Like I said, I'm gonna do a little haul, share with you the decks I got from my birthday. I'm very excited. Thanks to Cassandra, I got my hands on some decks I've been wanting for years. But we're talking about March faves here, and obviously my birthday being at the end of March, my favorites are not the decks I got for my birthday. They are decks that I was working earlier than that. So let's talk about books first. The first book I want to talk about is Dear Universe by Sarah Prout, 200 Mini Meditation for Instant Manifestation. I've shared this book before on my channel. A book I've come back to over the years again and again. I must have had this book for over 4 years now, because I definitely had it when it was the Panini. The book is split in two. On the first half, you have feelings that are more difficult, more shadow sides of feelings, emotions like bored, broken, jealous, judge, paranoid. So first half of the books, we have emotions that are more shadow or difficult. For each of the emotion, you have a little text from the author, potentially like a memory or something that happened in their life, which is cute, but not really my main point. What I love about this book is this part here, the Dear Universe. This is the mini meditation, this is the mantra, this is what I work with. Half of the book we're talking about overcoming a specific, more shadow, difficult feeling. The other half is all about more, I guess, lighter, happier feelings. We have things like powerful, free, happy, healed. And so you can either choose the mini meditation in a very aware way, saying like, for example, I want to feel joyful today, so I'm going to look at the joyful mini meditation, or lately I've been feeling abandoned, so I'm going to look at the abandoned mini meditation. But the way I love to work with this, and the way I've worked with this over the years, is as a bibliomancy. I literally just shuffle the pages, pick one at random, and let's do that for us today. For every one of you watching, let's see what we have. Playful, okay, perfect timing for Aries season, and a perfect remedy for Mercury retrograde, I think. So this is the playful mini meditation, and what I do is I read these 3 times. And so they act as like mantra, prayers. I read them 3 times out loud at night. I usually pick one every night. I've been sharing them on my Instagram, and you guys have been really enjoying them. So the playful one says, Dear Universe, show me creative ideas and ways that I can have more fun with my friends and my loved ones. Allow my whole heart to laugh and enjoy joyful experiences as a way to keep my spirits high. So be it, so it is. So I'd read these 3 times every night, and it just helps me to recenter. It literally takes me 5 minutes, but it's a good little exercise that helps me to like come back to my body and just take a moment of mindfulness. I'm oftentimes in a lot of pain at night. I mean, I'm in pain pretty much all of the time, but usually nighttime is harder because I've had the tiredness of the day plus the pain that has accumulated over the day if I've not rested enough. So it can be harder for me to be in my body at nighttime with chronic pain and stuff. So this little exercise helps me to come back into my body and to ground myself. So I really love this one. I've talked about it over the years, but it had been a while that I had mentioned it, so I wanted to shout it out. Let's talk about fiction books now. Your girl has been struggling with reading burnout for months. There has been so many tarot books I have been wanting to read, so many cartomancy books, so many historical, mythological books, non-fiction books, and even fiction books that I have, that I own, that I've been really struggling getting into. One, because of honestly brain fog. Any of you who has chronic pain, then you know that brain fog is real and it can be hard to focus. And also, I physically have struggled holding books because my shoulders were very painful. So it was very difficult for me to even hold books, which was already like kind of taking away from the pleasure of reading because you're in pain, you can't focus. It's like, well, I might as well just give up, right? So it's been difficult for me to get into reading in the last few months. But somehow in March, miracle happened and my reading burnout cleared massively, thanks to mostly one, taking up reading on my Kindle, which meant that I could just pop my Kindle onto like my bedside, for example, and just flick the pages, not having to hold it, which is a miracle, amazing, we love it. and also choosing the right kind of books to help me get back into reading. And for that, I need to thank my lovely friend Nova. If you're watching, thank you so much. You're the best. You have the best book recommendation, because the book that cured my reading burnout turned out to be Legends and Latte by Travis Baldry. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'll leave an image here. All the books I'm going to mention I've read on my Kindle, so I don't have physical copies, so I'm going to put pictures here. Legends and Latte is a cozy fantasy book that my friend Nova recommended me ages ago, and finally I was like, you know what, let me try this, because I love fantasy, but sometimes high fantasy, when there's like very complicated names of houses and lots of different complicated names of maps, and we're talking about new dynasties and stuff, it can be a lot, even though I love it. And I was like, I want to escape into a new world, a fantasy world, but I also want it to be chill and easy to read. And Legends and Latte turned out to be the easiest read ever, and it was such a joy, and it truly opened the door for me to enjoy reading again. Like, I'm probably one of the last people to have read this, most of you will have known it, but in case you haven't heard of it, Legends and Latte, like I was saying, it's a cozy fantasy book, and it's set in a fantasy world where an orc warrior, an orc fighter, decides to hang out her sword and to quit the adventurer, fighter, warrior life to open a coffee shop. So this is a wonderful mix of a D&D inspired world. We have tieflings and we have orcs and goblins and such, but set in a world where these people are still enjoying delicious pastries and coffee shops. And so there's this wonderful mix of fantasy mixed with a very cozy, wholesome story, which turned out to be actually perfect for me. Like this mix of like wholesome, cozy vibes with a fantasy set world. It was such a great mix. I'd never read cozy fantasy before. I only read fantasy books, and this turned out to be truly the perfect book to be a healing balm to my soul. I enjoyed it so much, so I'm gonna leave, of course, all the names of the books I'm mentioning, I'm gonna leave them in the description box below so you can check them out. Absolutely loved it, read that in 2 days, and then the floodgate opened and I was very excited to be reading again thanks to this book. So after that, I devoured the Winnowing Flame trilogy by Jen Williams. I leave the 3 books here. We have The Ninth Rain, The Bitter Twins, and The Poison Song. These are fantasy books again by a female British author, and this is amazing for all of my Robin Hobb fans, which I know there's a lot of us out there. The Winnowing Flame trilogy was such a surprise. I had the first book on my Kindle for ages, The Ninth Rain, and after I finished Legends and Latte, I was like, okay, let me give it a go. I've had this book for ages. I knew that it won British Fantasy of the Year, I think 2018, which was back when I had bought it on my Kindle, but I'd never got around to reading it. And it completely blew me away. I read the trilogy again all in March. It was fantastic because it's a unique mix of so many different themes that you think would not go together, and that just make for the most wonderful, wonderful world, where we have witches and we also have a race of beings similar to elves but also close to vampires. And everything is set in this like fantasy world where we have magic, mythical beings as well, griffins and such, but you also have an alien element to this. So it's this super unique mix of like alien, vampires, witches, mythical creatures. One of the main heroine is this like 40 years old lesbian Indiana Jones type adventurer who I love. She's amazing. She was my favorite character. We also have just wonderful, fierce characters, protagonists. The story is very fast paced. I never thought that the mix of like magic, vampire, fantasy, witches and aliens would work, but it just kept me on the edge of my seat. I will again leave the link in the description box, because I know I'm not the best at describing books, but just let me tell you, if you're looking for a fantasy book that is unique, very funny at times, but also very poignant, then I think you will absolutely love this. I adored it. I devoured it so quickly. It was amazing. The last books I want to mention are Godkiller and Sunbringer by Anna Kainer. I'll leave again an image because I read them all on my Kindle. I always loved reading when I was a child. I was that child that if you were looking for where they were on holiday, I wasn't really the one that was running around in the playground. I was the kid that was under a tree reading a book. Like, that was me. Whenever my parents were looking for me, I usually was in the library or something. That was my vibe. But like I said, chronic pain, chronic illness, it made reading more difficult, and I'm just so grateful that this is something I've reconnected with this year. So God Killer and Sunbringer are again fantasy books because that's what I enjoy reading. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. In the God Killer and Sunbringer, so these are two books of a continuing trilogy, whereas the previous one, The Winnowing Flame, it's finished. You can read the 3 books to get the complete story. This one is still being written, so we only have 2 books out yet. I don't know if it's gonna be a trilogy or if there's gonna be more, but so far we have God Killer and Sunbringer, and both of these are set in a world where gods are real. And there's all sorts of gods. We have big gods like fire gods, ocean gods, and such, but there's also very small gods like the god of white lie or the god of broken sandals. All those gods are made up, right? We're not talking about Zeus and Poseidon here, they are made up for the world. But in this world we follow different protagonists, one of them being a god killer. Because in a world where gods are real, people can bargain with them, take power. Gods become very, very powerful and sometimes can take over and ruin the life of human beings. So there are those people tasked in the world to kill gods, to stop them from being too powerful, to stop them from overtaking the life of other humans, etc. So this book explores different protagonists, one of them a god killer, one of them a young girl who actually is bound to a little god, the god of white lies. And so we follow this story in this world where gods are fighting for the attention of humans, where some humans want to destroy gods completely. It's action-packed. The characters again are really interesting. I was on the edge of my seat, especially the first one. I will say out of the 2, I much prefer the first one. The second one was still a great read, but the first one was just better, I thought. I still really want to find out what happened, so I'm definitely going to be continuing reading them. And yeah, I loved it. If the idea of gods being real and the idea of like fantasy books appeal to you, then I think you will enjoy this one. And again, I'll leave the link to it in the description box in case you want to read about it, make your own opinion. These are all the books I've enjoyed recently, which is quite a lot. I'm about to start A Court of Thorn and Roses, or whatever it's called, Akotar, you know, the one that literally everyone and their mom has read. I hadn't read it yet. I found the first 4 books for like £2 on my Kindle. There was a sale, so I was like, let me try it. So I'm gonna start that now. I'm curious about it because I've heard that it's both amazing and shite. I've literally heard it all about these particular books. Some people have told me it was the best thing they've ever read. Some people have told me it was absolutely overhyped and they hated it. So of course I want to make my own opinion. So if you read any of these books, or even Akotar, which I'm going to start, please let me know in the comments. And if you have any recommendation about fantasy books you think I would like from what I've mentioned today, then again, please let me know. I want to hear all the recommendations. Please help a girl out. Okay, let's move on to decks. Hey, let's talk about decks, baby, because I have a lot. I've been very busy reading both books and decks this month. I've done so much reading this month for myself, for others, for my channel. It's been fun and I just want to share with you all my current favorites. So let's start with, this is gonna be a no surprise I don't think, because I've been raving about it on Instagram, I've been raving about it in my latest deck haul. This is the Bimit Tarot Big Mice Tarot by Owl and Ezd. So sorry if I'm butchering that, but this is an indie deck all about cute mice. Mouse. I still don't know, you guys, and I'm sorry, this is just one of those things that my brain never will understand. Mice, mouse, I know one of them is plural, one of them is singular. I just can never remember which is which. But that's okay. This deck is an indie deck. I have the larger version, the Big Mice Tarot, but you can also get, I believe, the Mimit Tarot, Mini Mice Tarot. And this was a Kickstarter, which I missed, and then I went on their website and I realized there was some pre-orders open last year, so I signed up, and then they had some decks coming in. So as soon as they sent in the newsletter saying that some decks were coming, I literally pre-ordered, and I got mine in February, or I think or end of January, I can't remember now, and I just checked and it's back on pre-order right now. So I think the best thing if you want this deck is to just sign up for the newsletter like I did, and when they do reprint they just send you an email and let you know, because that's what I did, and I was able to get my hand on this deck. As you can see, it's a Mice Tarot and it's just stole my heart. I am just completely in love with this deck. It gives me a type of storybook, fairy tale, magical adventure, quest world that has completely just charmed the pants out of me. Not even a mouse person normally, like, I mean, they're cute, I don't have anything against them, but they're not my favorite animal, you know. And yet this, as soon as I saw some images, I was like, oh my god, where do I get this? I need this in my life. So I was very bummed that I missed the Kickstarter, but so happy they had opened pre-ordered on their website, and they seem to be doing that again right now, which is great. This is actually a wonderful deck full of stories. The world building is fantastic. You can get a larger book with it, which I don't have. I just got the decks because with shipping the book it was just too expensive. But in the guidebook you do get still for each of the card a little write-up, and you get their story, because for each of the card you actually have a different character and it tells you a little bit about where they're from, what their story is, because the way that this is set up is like a whole world building setup. We have different cities, different places, different like clans, and so when you read the guidebook you realize that each card represents a different person, different parts of the world, different places on the map, which is wonderful and adds another layer to this deck. I loved reading the guidebook. It was so enjoyable finding out about the stories behind each character, but also I loved using this without the guidebook because it very much follows the RWS, even though it, you know, has its own interpretation. If you're familiar with the RWS, I don't think you'll have any problem reading this. And these little mice just, they give me hope and they give me courage. There's something throughout this deck, this like theme of bravery, of rising up to the challenge, of standing up for what you believe. A lot of the time you see them facing difficult situations and facing enemies that are so much bigger than them. And that gives me hope in March. I was like, wow, you know what? If they can do it, I can. Which I know is silly, they're fictional characters, but this deck gave me strength, it gave me hope, it gave me a sense of like bravery and adventure. And every time I was feeling a little bit low or feeling a little bit like I was faced with certain demons, these little mice just helped me fight, helped me stand up for what I believed in. And overall it's just been an absolute joy. This is definitely one of my favorite decks of 2024 already. It will most likely be on my 2024 favorite list because it's just wonderful. I used it in my April 2024 tarot reading. This was one of the options and a lot of you really enjoyed it, so if you want to see how it reads, I invite you to watch it. I will leave it in the cards or in the description box. This might be one of my favorite strength cards ever. It's just so badass. There is this theme of like adventure and quest about this deck that I really enjoy. They're just so fierce, those little mouse, and they just give me hope and remind me that it doesn't matter how small you are, it doesn't matter how big the challenge you feel like it's that you're facing, you can find the strength within yourself to overcome it. Move on to another favorite for the month of March, which I also offered in my April 2024 months ahead reading. I guess you now know that usually when I'm enjoying a deck, it will most likely appear in a monthly reading. If I'm enjoying using it, I just enjoy being able to read for you guys with it. It makes sense to continue using it. So this is the Witchy Magic Tarot by 12 Cats, another indie deck that I purchased myself. This is so cute, and I guess the theme for March was cute. You've seen the Mimi Tarot was super cute. This Witchy Magic Tarot is also very cute. There's another couple of decks I want to share with you that are very cute. Listen, I guess I need it cute, but I always kind of do around Aries season. There's something about Aries that makes me feel like I want to reconnect with my childlike personality, my childlike side of myself, and I'm always drawn during March and April to cute decks. Like, that's just something I've noticed along the years, so it makes sense that this one would be one I enjoy very much recently. This actually is very Aries vibe, this deck, and I'll share with you why. This comes with a guidebook which is actually packed with information. Oh my god, There's so much here. The only thing is it's written so small, and I have very good eyesight, like I don't need glasses or anything, and even I'm getting eye fatigue looking at that. So I can only imagine for people who are struggling with their eyesight or who wear glasses or anything like that, that this would be a struggle. You need one of those Sherlock Holmes magnifying glasses for this, because it's a lot. And it's such a shame because there's so much packed in there. For each of the card, you have a general text, a love and relationship, money and career, and health, and then you have the same for and spirituality, and then you have the same for reversed. So reversed general, reversed love and relationship, reversed money and career, reversed health, and reversed spirituality. Love that. Love the amount of effort that was put into this guidebook. I just wish I could see it better. So I need to get myself a magnifying glass. I kind of always wanted one, so this is a good excuse, but just putting it out there. It looks like this, and the sides are hollow, silver hollow, which are very cute. I don't often talk about texture or card stock and stuff in my videos, you know, this is not something I pay too much attention to, but this is definitely, it feels like it could be linen somehow, because there's texture on it. Can you see that? I think you can. It feels textured like linen, but it's not slippery at all or bendy like linen. So I actually don't know what this is. I don't have any deck that feels like this, but it feels nice to shuffle. I've never had anything like this. So the Witchy Magic Tarot is an indie deck. I purchased mine directly from the creator. I'll leave in the description box a link to where you can find this. And in my memory, it wasn't that expensive for an indie deck. I think I paid like 40 euro for it. It might have been on sale when I purchased it, but it was very affordable, like for an indie deck. I mean, considering prices are getting crazier and crazier. Totally caught my eye because first it was giving me massive Disney vibes. Like there's something about the court cards you'll see that feel very inspired by some of my favorite Disneys like Mulan and stuff. So I love the court cards, I love the Disney feel of them. And I also loved how cute it looked because it was giving me that childlike wonder. And like I said, at this time of the year, I'm very attracted to cute decks, childlike decks, decks that speak to my inner child. What totally surprised me with this deck, and I was talking about this with a few people, was that it's a lot more feisty and fiery than I expected. Like I thought this was gonna be cute and just... yeah, cute, sweet, you know, giving that sweet vibe. But this is actually a lot more feisty and fiery than I expected. If this deck lived in a suit, it would definitely live in the wand suit, I think. The expressions on people's faces, the feistiness of it, the fieriness of it, the determination, it really looks like they're about to jump off the card, right, and tell you what it is that you need to do. And there's something about this that, despite the very storybook, fairy tale, Disney-like vibe of the artwork, there's a lot of fire and passion in this deck. So for me, this mix of like childlike with feistiness and fieriness and passion is very Aries, which is why it was perfect timing that I received my copy during Aries season and that I could use it for Aries, because the vibes of this deck are very much Aries. It's like both childlike and a warrior. So I very, very much enjoyed this one, so much so that I offered it, like I was saying, as part of my monthly tarot reading for April. So again, if you want to see how it reads, I invite you to watch it. I love the colors. I love the fact that some of the minors are more pip-ish, but still illustrated enough. So there's a good mix of like people card and not people cards. The kings are all giving daddy vibes, and the knights are also awesome. I love them. This is a deck I can see myself picking up for anything, really. I've enjoyed reading with this for friends as well as this month. They really enjoyed it. It feels very accessible. It feels very easy to use. Again, it follows the RWS. So I think even if you are kind of new to tarot and you're like attracted by this deck, I think you would have no problem reading with this. I really enjoy some of the minors, like I was saying, which are more pipish. It's a nice mix and balance between cards with a lot of people and cards that are more pip adjacent. And overall, this has been a wonderful workhorse. I can see myself doing tons of reading with this, and we need to find the Knight of Pentacles because he is my absolute favorite. He reminds me of the knight in Mulan and he was my first crush when I was 10. I was obsessed. I wanted to marry him, so I need to find him. Love this Queen of Wands, by the way. Where is he? He's gonna be the last card, obviously. We need to find him. I'm sorry, you guys. I need to indulge my inner child who was obsessed with him and wanted to marry him. Look at this Queen of Pentacles. Love. Okay. Have we passed him already? Where is he? It looks like Li Shang from Mulan, who definitely was my first crush when I was little. Love him so much. So absolutely adore this Knight of Pentacles. Every time he comes up, it makes me smile. So this is the Witchy Magic Tarot. Honestly, a great little workhorse. If you're looking for something cute but with a bite, then this is it. So I love the box because it's a slidey thing that opens from the top. And as a certified clumsy person, I can't tell you the amount of time that decks that have slidey things opening from the bottom have ended up hitting my toes. Like, I will always pick up a deck and it will fall off from the bottom and hit me on my feet, and that just brings me into a huge rage. Whereas this one, it makes sense because yes, it's a slidey thingy, but from the top, simple changes, but yet makes so much sense and definitely life-changing. Like, I'm sorry, but life-changing. Okay, Marine, stop being dramatic. Let's talk about the Tarot Fauna, which I don't know if it's out of print or not. I've been trying to find the website for the creator and I can't find it anymore. So this might be out of print. This is by Devin Strickler and Brittany Burkard. I've had mine since 2020, I think. So I don't know if this is still in print or not, which is why I won't talk about it for too long. If it is out of print, I'm very bummed because this is a great deck. It's one of my favorite animal decks. I love it so much, and it's one I always come back to during this time of year. The suits are separated in 4 different types of animal, which gives it a certain consistency. For torches we have foxes. For the cups we have otters. For pentacles or rocks we have bears. And the last one are owls for feathers. And oh my god, this is just so beautiful. It reminds me very much of a video game I played, which was Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Beautiful game, beautiful imagery. It's a platformer, you can get it on Switch, but it definitely has a story and just gorgeous. And it gives me that vibes. If you know the game, you'll understand why, especially the owl suit. This is just one that I come back to every year around that time. If it's very emotional, if it's very heartwarming and just full of emotion, this one. The 4 suits are a specific kind of animal, but each major represents a different one. But they all look like they could be in the same world, in the same forest, in the same land, and for that, this brings a lot of consistency and a lot of beauty in this. So this is just a strong favorite. Like I said, I don't know if it's out of print or what's going on. I can't find it anywhere. I really hope that it's still out there, or that they bring it back, because the world needs this. It's just very beautiful and very special. Another deck that always gets used, I mean all year long, but especially for my birthday, is one of my favorite deck ever, the Joe Sparrow Tarot. Again, I won't be blabbing on too much about this one because I talk about it all the time in all of my videos. This is one of my top 3 favorite decks ever, and this is one that I could never ever let go of. Like, you'd have to literally pass over my dead body. I'm taking this with me to the grave. I'm taking this in the afterlife. We are reading for the ghosties with this. I'm never able to let this go. In case you've never heard me talk about it, maybe you're new to my channel, this is an indie deck by a UK creator, Joe Sparrow. Still to this day, one of the most affordable indie decks I've ever seen. Last time I checked, it was less than £40, which is incredible for an indie deck. We love it. Again, prices are becoming crazy, so when indie creators keep it pretty much the same price as a mass market deck nowadays, you're like, wow, thank you so much for that. Doesn't come with a guidebook, but honestly, you don't need it. I think this is super intuitive. This is just perfect in my opinion. I would not change a thing. It has a piece of my soul, and I treat myself to a huge spread with this for my birthday. This present I could give myself. I use it all year long. When it's time for me to do my birthday spread, there is no contender. Like, this is it. This is the one I want to use. because it gives me that Aries vibe again, childlike but warrior-like, and as an Aries I want a deck that matches my energy, and this does. I mean, it continuously makes me happy, continuously challenges me in the best way possible, continuously, and so many of you love it now after seeing it here, and that makes me so happy because I think everyone deserves this in their life. It's wonderful, it's quirky, it's unique, the interpretations are their own, the art style is gorgeous and whimsical and just full of personality. This is a deck that will not let you feel bored. It's gonna be just, it's just a joy. So anyway, I need to stop. The Queen of Wands coming, yes. So happy we finished on her. She's so cute with her little cat. I mean, the Joe's Power Tarot, it's my mother, it's my father, it's my child, it's my cousin, it's everything. I love this so much. Always on the rotation, but particularly around my birthday. Let's continue talking about tarot decks, and then we'll move on to Oracle, because I've got a couple of oracles I really want to share with you guys, which are wonderful. But let's just wrap up tarot first. The last tarot I want to mention were actually parts of the decks that I got for myself for my birthday. The order I did from A Riffle in Time, which again I'll share with you all the other decks I got then in a little haul coming up, because a lot of them I haven't had the time to work with, but this one was the first one I dug into, and even though I only used it for like the last week and a half, this still made a huge impression, and so I wanted to share it with you, even though it's definitely gonna appear also in my April favorites. And again, I feel like I'm the last person to get this deck. All of you will probably know this, the Gentle Tarot, and on Cassandra's website I ordered the Pocket Linen Edition. So this deck and I have a funny story, because I was seeing it everywhere. Everyone was talking about it, everyone was sharing it. Last year I even had a reading with it from my friend Niha from Dark Fate Tarot. For my birthday I got a tarot reading from Niha, and she was using this deck, and when she was using this deck, she was like, Marine, why don't you have this? Like, you need this in your life. This is so you. And I was like, yeah, I know, but at the same time, I've seen it so many places. I've seen so many videos of it that it's almost like put me off of it somehow. Like sometimes, I don't know, you guys must have that sometimes with decks that are very, very popular. Let me know if it's just me. When you see it everywhere, everywhere, I felt a little bit almost oversaturated with it. And of course, we know I'm an idiot, so I just didn't purchase the deck at the time, because I felt like I was seeing too much of it and it wasn't really appealing to me because of that. And I know I'm a huge fool, and sometimes I just want to go back in time and slap myself, because when I was doing my order from A Riffle in Time, I saw that Cassandra had this, and she had the Pocket Edition, the Linen Edition, and I was like, okay, you know what, let me just give this a go. I feel like time has passed enough for me, like I'm ready now to give this a go, so why not? I mean, literally all of my friends love it. I need to give this a chance. I always thought the artwork was beautiful, I always thought the guidebook sounded amazing, but I just always felt like, I don't know, I felt like I had seen too much of it, and I was like, oh, you know what, you need to make your opinion now. When I did my order from Cassandra, I added this deck. I thought at least it's the Pocket Edition, I can carry it everywhere. And I literally received it, opened it, flipped through the cards, and I started crying. I literally started crying. And that's when I realized, one, I'm a huge fool, and I probably should have got this ages ago. And two, it really reinforced that sometimes there's something much different between seeing a deck on videos and stuff like that and holding it in your hands. Like, it doesn't have the same power. Obviously I know that, but sometimes I need a reminder. Holding this in my hands, flipping through the cards, I was bawling my eyes out. Something about this made me feel super emotional. The colors, the fact that a lot of people are naked and looking so vulnerable, the animal companions, the strength card. Oh my god, the strength card with the whale. That one got me. That's when I started crying, because you know I love whales so much. And that was it. That's literally, I was sold, and I was like, well, Marine, you're a fucking fool. I mean, we know that already. Look at that. Oh, I can't. It's so beautiful. See, last year I would have been like, no, I don't think it's for me. I've seen it too much. And now I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. It's beautiful. It's amazing. People are right. Trust the hype. It's gorgeous, it's healing. The guidebook, so I got the guidebook PDF one. It's been wonderful to read. Even the little cards that come with the deck that give you just one sentence, one affirmation for each of the cards. So healing, beautiful. Look, let's read the Empress, just so you can get a taste, if like me, you're still on the fence. The Empress, abundance is ever present within me. I am healthy, I am wild and free, I allow my blooming. Oh, just also the thing that made me cry was as soon as I opened it, one of the cards is opening intention and closing intention, and just beautiful, poetic, healing. I'll pause it in case you want to read it, because this blew me away, and this is when I realized the magic that lies in this deck. I'm now a super fan. Like, I know there's a Kickstarter coming up with the Oracle deck. I'm definitely gonna back it. I might even get another copy of the deck. I always knew this was a special deck. I always knew so many people enjoyed it, and I knew the artwork was amazing, but holding it in my hands, it just hit me differently, and there's something that happened. I'll talk about it more in my April favorites, because I'm using it in April, and I'm actually using it as part of a specific kind of study I'm doing. So I don't want to go too much on about this one, because I want to share more next month. Truly, sometimes it's not until you hold a deck in your hands that you can make your opinion about it. Something happens. They're magical tools after all. Let's talk about Oracle decks. I've got 3 Oracle decks I want to mention. The first one I've not shared on my channel yet. I'm gonna do a dedicated video about this because this is one I was sent for review, and I've been really enjoying it this month, and definitely gonna continue using it next month. So you'll be seeing it a lot more on my channel. This is the Oracle of the Mythic Heroes by Letao Wang, illustrated by Rosang Zouali and Anjun Guo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing anyone's name. This was sent to me by Letao for review, so I'm gonna making a separate video. I am a huge mythology nerd. I love mythology, specifically Greek and Egyptian mythology. So when he got in touch and asked if I wanted to check out his deck, it was a no-brainer. I was very interested in it. I had already seen a little bit about it, and I was very curious to find out more. And this has been a deck I've been really enjoying this month. So I'm gonna be doing a separate review video dedicated about this deck, because I want to share with you how I've been working with it and stuff. But I still wanted to mention it here because it's definitely been a favorite for March, and I know it's going to continue to be for April. So this deck has been so interesting to work with, because even though it's written in Greek mythology, and I have quite a few decks rooted in Greek mythology, like I said, it's a subject I really enjoy working with. This definitely stands out because we're not talking here about gods and goddesses, we're talking about heroes, human heroes or heroines, and this make the people on the cards a lot more relatable because they're mortals, and that already gives this deck a new edge, a new lens, which I really enjoy. The second thing that I love about this deck is that each of the cards are not just rooted in a specific like hero, but also in astrology. Each of the zodiac signs, we have, I believe, 4 cards if I'm not mistaken. So we have cards for Aries, Taurus, etc. And we also have some cards for the moon phases. So there's an astrological aspect to these cards, which are really interesting. In the guidebook, each card is associated to a different decan. So for those of you doing the decan walk, this would be great to work with. I'm not a huge follower of the decan walk. I've tried to do it. I've literally fell off the bandwagon by Cancer time or Gemini time every single time. I'm not one to commit to long-term projects like doing a decan walk, but I can see myself very much enjoying working with the astrological association of the zodiac, particularly because they make sense. Every time I was reading the guidebook, seeing for example Leo linked with Hercules and strengths, I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely, makes a lot of sense. And finally, the thing that I love the most about working with this deck is the fact that in the guidebook you don't just have, like I was saying, the decan and astrological association, you even have crystal association. You have obviously the myth, so who this particular hero is, the myths associated. But my favorite part was the teaching, and the teaching is written again by Letao, but it's usually him giving us a glimpse as to a story about a reading he did, someone he met that he was doing a reading with, giving us an actual practical day-to-day experience that he had using this deck, or reading for a person where this particular card resonated for them, and having this like root into day-to-day life, reading about how certain heroes were coming through for certain people and their questions. It was super interesting, because this is not just the guidance. If you pull this card, it means that. We'll also tell you an example of someone that he was reading for that pulled this card, and how it kind of illuminated a certain issue. And I love when people give personal, relatable elements into the guidebooks. I love when they add this particular like real life side to it. Definitely helped me connect with this deck much quicker. So I've been loving using this. I'm gonna do a separate video about it, explaining you everything, but I just wanted to quickly mention it here, because I think if you're into Greek mythology, you're gonna love this. If you are thinking about doing the Decan walk, this could be a great helpful tool. And also, if you enjoy oracle decks that have something unique to bring to the table, then I think you would really enjoy this one. So the Oracle of Mythic Heroes, I'm still getting to know it properly. I've been pulling a card every 2 days, journaling about it, because you know, do reviews of decks, I want to make sure I've worked with them for several weeks, but I'm definitely going to do a separate video for this one, so watch out for that in the coming future. Let's talk about this chunky beast that I've been talking about in pretty much every single recent videos I've made. So again, I won't be talking too much about it, because if you've watched my recent videos, I've been blabbering on about it for long enough. But what can I say? I'm obsessed with it. It's wonderful, and I think it deserves to be celebrated. So this is the Breath of the Night Oracle. I bought this one on Etsy. It's over 100 cards, which you can tell how chunky it is. It's huge, it's wonderful, I'm obsessed. This is definitely one of the largest, biggest decks I own, and it's one of the best oracle decks I found for divination, to be honest. I really enjoy this one. It's very intuitive, the keywords are very unique, and yet they are very powerful for doing any kind of predictive type guidance. This is a very unique system. It was originally a Russian deck, which is no longer printed, I believe, called the Breath of the Night, and then a Ukrainian artist decided to take the deck back up, to rejudge it, rework with it, and to offer it on her Etsy shop, which I think is wonderful that we're able to have that. So this is by a Ukrainian creator. As you can see, the keywords are both in English and in Russian, because originally the system was Russian. And this is a over 100 card oracle deck. The first 36 are Lenormand, and then all the other ones are additional concepts, keywords. We have elements, we have different like animals, we have some witchy concepts, we have the Sabbath and the cauldron and the cat, and we have darker themes like marionette and the vampire and the shadow. There's like a really great balance of keywords here. Obviously 100 keywords, you can imagine lots of concepts. It's fully intuitive. I mean, there's a guidebook. You can ask for a PDF guidebook, which is very interesting, but the way I read this is very intuitive. It's gonna require you to trust your instinct, trust your intuition, and I love those types of decks, especially for looking at the energies ahead, for doing any type of predictive reading. This has been so on point. I've been using it all months of March for lots of different types of predictive readings I've read for others with it, and it has blown us away by how accurate this is. It feels very sharp. It's a sharpshooter for sure. I love the fact that there's so many cards, because you can kind of pick and match. So if you just want to leave the Lenormand, you can. If you want to make your own oracle deck, only choose 50 of your favorites, you can. This is kind of like the beauty of this. You can make the deck the way you like, and you can also print it the size you like, because I got mine in tarot size because I really wanted to enjoy the artwork and because I have large hands. but you can get this printed as a poker size too, like playing cards and stuff. You choose when you print how you want this printed, which I think is wonderful. The creator is so nice. I've talked with her on Etsy. She's super nice. She has so many gorgeous decks on her Etsy shop. I leave it in the description box. And of course this comes from Ukraine, which is in war right now, so you have to know that this is going to take a long time to ship, right? Don't expect express shipping. We're talking about a war-torn country. And yet the fact that she's able to continue sharing her art, sharing her work, sharing her creations with the world, despite what's going on in her country, I think it's just so amazing. So I was very happy to be able to support her work, and I'm very tempted to pick some other decks from her because it's just, this one is just wonderful. So I want all her decks, to be honest. The one thing I will say is this is very glossy, so if you don't like glossy decks, you're not gonna like this. And the cardstock is very thick. It feels like it was coated, a little bit plasticky, which for me means it's gonna be very durable. But let's say you only riffle shuffle and that's the only way you shuffle decks, you're not gonna like this. This is not for you. But if you're like me, if you don't mind shuffling it this way, and here I've got almost all the 100 cards. I've removed a few that I didn't really like, so there must be like 90 cards here. You can see I can shuffle them fine. But again, I have large hands, so you might want to get this printed smaller. And here are the backs, by the way, which I find really beautiful. So this is the Breath of the Night Oracle. I'll leave the link to where you can get this down below. I'm obsessed. I want to do a reading just using this. Maybe for May. Maybe for a monthly reading for May, I'll use this one. Oh, and I forgot to say, it didn't come with a box. It just comes wrapped. You get a little organza pouch, but I've put it in another one that I had. And you can get a PDF guidebook if you ask the creator. Okay, the last oracle deck I want to mention is definitely an oldie but a goodie. I've talked about it many times on my channel, but I'm back to using it pretty much every day. It's the Power of Surrender cards by Judith Orloff. This is a mass market deck, and it's by... I don't even know who printed that. Oh, Hay House. This is old, you guys. I've had this for years. It's definitely one of those that is a trusty old great oracle deck. I've talked about it so many times on my channel because it's amazing, and here it is, still doing the rounds. I love it. Here are the backs, and I love this one because literally everything you need to know is on the card. So as the name suggests, the Power of Surrender, this is dedicated to what you need to let go of or what you need to surrender into. And on each of the card you have surrender what, so different concepts. You have an image, and then you have a little sentence, and that's it. There's no guidebook. What you need to know is on the cards, and I love that so much because especially when it's nighttime and I want to be doing like a little bit of a quick daily card pull for myself. I don't do daily card pulls in the morning. I do them at night. I like to either reflect on what's happened, so I do it at the end of the day, or I pull it for the next day. But I never put them in the morning because in the morning, girl, I'm having trouble enough opening my eyes. I don't need to also figure out what the universe is trying to tell me. So I love doing them at night, and I love reflecting on my day, and this one is great for that because it's literally all there. You pull a card, you get your message, you read it, and off you go. There's no big guidebooks to read, there's nothing like that. It's perfect for those like daily draws type of vibe. This is also fantastic for kicking your butt, like if you are facing any kind of blockages, if you're thinking something is not working, what am I not seeing, why is this not happening the way I want? And it doesn't matter the theme. Could be career, could be finances, could be relationships, family dynamics, spirituality, whatever. This is gonna tell you the tea. It's gonna hold a mirror to your face, and it's gonna tell you exactly what's what, and I love it for that. It's a very practical deck. It's a deck I think works so great for, like I was saying, many different types of reading. I've pulled this so many times for friends and stuff, and every single time it rings true. It will not cuddle you, it will tell you what you need to know, but it's helpful. It's a helpful deck. It's one of those, it's a workhorse for me. I love to also create spreads around the particular theme, so I'll pull one of these cards and then I'll pull several added tarot or oracle cards on top to go deeper, continue to ask questions. This is great for journaling. There's just so much you can do with this deck. I know it really in and out now. I know it really well, but it continues to be one of those that is one of the most helpful decks I own in my collection and one of my most used ones. And in the month of March, I really needed it to kick my butt. I needed to help me get my shit together, and it did. So I love it for that. Very practical. Is it the most beautiful deck I own? Absolutely not. But is it one of the most honest and useful one I own? Yes. That it really is. So the Power of Surrender cards by Judy Orloff, one of my most used trusted decks that again I would never part with. Love this one. Okay my friend, this is it. These were all the decks I wanted to talk about today, decks and books. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. If you've made it this far, leave me a little Aries emoji right in the comments. It will let me know you've made it till the end of the video and it will make me super happy. And until my next video, I hope the month of April is treating you well. I hope you're all surviving eclipse season, Mercury retrograde. Oh, that's a lot. There's a lot going on, but we've got this. We will come through to the other side. Remember to take some deep breaths, to look out for beautiful nature and the sun and the trees outside that bring you so much joy. And until my next video, I'm sending you so much good vibes and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!